Happy solstice, everyone, and dawning of the age of Aquarius. December the 21st, 2020, a historical day. This is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. Earlier this morning, the Sun entered Capricorn, the lowest point in the yearly cycle over the northern hemisphere. The shortest day, the longest night. It's the true reboot of the cycle, of the yearly cycle. It's the esoteric hidden beginning of the year 2021. And just a day earlier there was an exact Sun-Mercury conjunction, the upper conjunction, very powerful day. I mean, we had a whole series of powerful days, and the last of this series will be the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, which is less than an hour from when I'm recording this here. So let's start with the beginning of this year, which lays the foundation, which then on top of it will be the beginning of the whole new era, kicking in just an hour or so. So what we see here in the global chart, Greenwich Rising, Jupiter and Saturn at the sunrise point together with Pallas, this powerful trio, and there's actually another body hiding in here, which I'm getting to a little later in this video, which is not named yet. It was discovered in 2002, and it's right between the Mercury and the Sun as we speak, as seen from Earth, hiding behind in the far depth of the solar system. And this body is called GZ32. Just a quick preview here. This is the body's orbital diagram, which is on the NASA website. You can pull up all these orbits of the different planets and smaller bodies, and you can play with them. They're interactive. This is GZ32, this is Uranus, and this is Neptune. So this body is kind of connecting Uranus and Neptunian energy, which is that next pair of planets above Jupiter and Saturn being the two social planets, the two biggest ones in our solar system, considered to rule the social plane, law and order on one side, Saturn, and truth and justice on the other side, Jupiter. So these are the kind of foundational pillars of society. That's why this is such a big event, that Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. It is really resetting the whole societal parameters, the direction we are heading into. Let's go. Well, let me give you a short preview of the meaning of this body. And what I really like is Linda Goodman's work. She is one of the pioneers in focusing on the meanings of planets, change the way we look at the world. How much more powerful could that be than this body right in that same spot as the Sun and Mercury when Jupiter and Saturn enter Aquarius? GZ32 is a Centaur, discovered in April of 2002, on April 13 to be exact. I have the chart too here. I will show you a little later here in this video the chart, the discovery chart, which is very meaningful. Discovery charts hold the information of what this planet or body is about to reveal, to add on to the bigger picture. It is closest to the Sun at about 18 AU, that's astronomical units. 1 astronomical unit is the distance between Sun and Earth, so it's 18 times the distance from Sun and Earth at its closest, and farthest away 28 times that distance. Again, if you go back to the diagram, you see Uranus is about 19 AU away from Earth, and Neptune about 30 AU astronomical units. So GZ32 is kind of resonating between those two, and according to Liz Green, who is another famous astrologer, that combination of Uranus-Neptune energy is bringing in revolutionary ideas that soon get to the heart of others and become fashion. Uranus and Neptune, as I said, is the higher dimensional, next level up polarity. Jupiter and Saturn are the ones, as I said, holding together societies. Uranus and Neptune is the spiritual planets, also the ones which have to do with our perception of reality. Uranus being the one connected with more the I would say the I'm missing the word here. It's okay. Uranus is the oh gosh. It's Uranus and Neptune, left and right, you could say. Right, which would be I'm really missing that word here. Sucks. So Neptune is more communism, I guess you get the picture, and Uranus is on the other side. What we really need is that gosh, that's too funny. You get the picture. My brain is blank. Anyway, let's go back to astrology and to what's going on right now. So yes, Uranus, Jupiter-Saturn rising together with Pallas. I guess it's still early morning here for me. My brain is not fully awake yet. This is beautiful. This shows that yes, there's a new awakening, and Pallas is really powerful. I showed you in the other charts I did in my last video. Pallas is seemingly bringing in new information, new understanding of the reality we live in, superseding with all the false information. That's the next chapter coming, and that will be at the core of redefining where we are going as a global community. It's really nice that it is at the sunrise point of this new year, starting this conjunction here, Jupiter and Saturn, and Venus and Juno here high up in Sagittarius. This shows the drive we develop as a collective to strive for unity and fight for it. Astrea is ready to do the hard work. Juno standing together, working as a team. That waking up of so many people all over the world working together into the same direction of revealing and helping others to understand what's going on. Now if we look at the chart for Washington when the new year started, what stands out here is the last degree of Scorpio rising, and again these two asteroids, this time on the ascendant. The ascendant is always kind of the actional place where we start doing things in a very particular manner. It's Aries energy, get it done, get started with it. So it is nice that this is all in the first house for the American nation, with the Sun and Mercury and GZ32 again here at the second house cusp to make it real. And I'm just wanting to take this as a preview here. We will get into the second house Taurus energy in a minute as we go into the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. And let me just go here for a sec to start with. That is the one I want to show you. Okay, that is now the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction for Washington DC. And you see Jupiter-Saturn exactly 90 degrees above the horizon for the American nation's capital. This is very auspicious. This shows that this place on the planet is leading the way and anchoring these energies. 0 degrees, fixed signs, the big cross. This is powerful, this is big. And when I show you the other chart I have here, which is the global chart, you see the 0 degree Leo and Aquarius now in the ascendant axis. So it's 0 Leo, 0 Aquarius with, and this is actually the heliocentric chart. Let's go back to the geocentric for a minute so you see it clearly. Jupiter-Saturn 029, pretty dead on the 7th house cusp, which is about meeting others and spreading, sharing the good news in that sense globally. And if we localize it for the American capital, then these two planets are dead on in the center of the sky, squaring ascendant and descendant. So this is really big. This is really showing that yes, this is a global event and America is leading into this new age. My friend Michael O'Connor has his understanding is, and I really want to give him credit for that, that the age of Aquarius actually started about 600 years ago at midnight. That's when a new day starts, at midnight. And in these big ages of 2160 years around, if we divide that into 4 parts, then we have now arrived pretty much at the sunrise point. So in that way seen, the age of Aquarius already started around 1400 with the Renaissance. And if you are knowing history, you will know that this was a big change in perception. Really new ideas were seeded into consciousness, and it was a slow progression through these 600 years, coming closer to the sunrise point. And as we are now at this moment when that all comes into the full light of day, that's what it feels to me, what this present time is about. It's all coming out into the light of day, visible disclosure, extraterrestrial, new technologies, rewriting the whole script of society, taking out the dark forces and opening the curtains for really wonderful and extraordinary times to come. And it's beautiful that we human beings on this planet seem to have kept up to that schedule. There's enough people awake to lead the way. It's said up to 65 million star seeds came here, intentionally were brought here, signed up for that task to wake up planet Earth, to wake up all the people who still are in a slumber, under a hypnosis, under a spell. And in a very smart and intelligent way, this all was set up, and everything is coming to a head now. Everything is coming together, all the lines meet. This Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is just the beginning. Whatever we have seen up to now was a preamble, a preparation. So this anchoring of the fixed signs, the fixed signs are about stabilization. I guess that's the best word, to make the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, are the initiators. They bring in the new, and then with the fixed signs, all these energies get really stabilized and preserved and strengthened, if you want. And then the third modality, the mutable signs, that's when again change is setting in, and when we are moving again towards the new season, the next one, which is Pisces, Gemini, Virgo and Sag. This is just a little thought on that. So the stabilizing signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius. So I want to go back here for a sec to the global chart with Leo rising. Leo, the sign of shining, of light, of courage, of taking charge, of sovereignty. Aquarius, again, the sign of community, of working together, of sharing, friendship, also technology, artificial intelligence comes in here too with the Aquarian theme. And on that note, I want to say that artificial intelligence, when it is serving us, when we are the masters of it, then it is a wonderful thing. We just have to be sure and make sure that it's not the other way around, that we become servants of it. So that's the whole little thing I want to say in that context. Consciousness has to be on top of it. We have to understand the dangers of AI and safeguard it and make it to be our servants. And that is happening, and we are at that critical place where the timelines are readjusted in that way, with all the wisdom that is coming in, that is pouring in and becoming available right now as we speak. So let me go to the Okay, let me say a few more things here. So a week ago there was a solar eclipse at the 23rd degree of Sagittarius. Now this is 7 days in, and the moon is just about at its waxing square. That's the most yang moment in the sun-moon cycle. Actually, I just want to beam ahead here quickly. This is the waxing half moon later today for Washington DC. The moon by that time in the first degree of Aries, fire, Mars. So that's one of the reasons I have already said in earlier videos. This will be kind of the starting point for action to kick in, whatever that is. We will see some big shifts happening in the next 3-4 days, starting just before Christmas. A Christmas present, I'm very convinced of that. Might be that some of the players will be taken out. I'm guessing it could be something with the media, maybe Zuckerberg or so. Maybe he gets arrested on charges of fraud, having put over $400 million into the American elections, paying poll workers and all kinds of irregularities. I think that is probably the first level of waking people up. So something of that sort. I'm expecting a radical action, something which is really shaking the foundations of all those deceptive agencies. So, but let's go back here for a minute. I want to point out the Pisces Moon, which is still in effect for most of the day, and Pisces Moon we have during that historic Jupiter-Saturn conjunction. The moon between Neptune and Chiron, very meaningful. We are coming out of that phase of sleep, still kind of half awake, and we are edging towards an awakening, a cleansing, a healing. But when Chiron is involved, and you see how powerful Chiron is placed here in this global chart, it comes with a certain pain, if you want, when we grow through painful experiences, and that's kind of what this indicates. Our whole human society is going through a painful period as we speak. We know that, that's no news really. Interesting though is that other little planet Salacia, which lightens that struggle in the sense that there's lots of joy in it too, because we know there's a wonderful outcome at the end, and we are ready to take on that difficult passage to go through. Many people are understanding that, and that's that momentum which pulls us into the new timeline. Also, Maki Maki is here, which is a creative force. Actually, Maki Maki, named after a Easter Island god of creation, is very strongly related to manifesting ideas, giving them physical form. And the manifesting idea definitely comes strongly through if we look at the American chart for that Jupiter-Saturn conjunction of the 0 Taurus rising. Taurus is the sign of getting a physical expression to whatever we are dreaming into reality. So I want to venture to the heliocentric charts for a moment, because the heliocentric is always the hidden layer of energy. And what is exceptional here in this chart is that Mars in the first degree of Gemini, heliocentrically, coming out of a Sedna conjunction. This is the waking up also out of that phase of separation, which has been exaggerated over the last year. I mean, the last year was the incubation period, if you want. It was that cocoon phase, and I will actually make another video in the next few days when I have time, showing you how wonderful that year 2020 was. Divinely planned. This is an upcoming video I will make on the Sun galactic center conjunction of December 2019, which was really planting the seed for the year 2020, and I will show you how wonderful this shows. Yes, the Chiron Maki opposition together with Salacia, that awakening to all the problems, difficulties, taking the high road of seeing that this is a necessary path to go, and creation of a new reality is what will be the natural outcome of this. If we go, and then naturally also that that's another beautiful configuration here, Hygeia, health, well-being in the first degrees of Leo, together with Varuna and Ceres. Varuna about righteousness and honesty, justice. Ceres is that dedication to truth and to be ready to sacrifice even one's life for the sake of serving the highest in this creation, doing the right thing. So there's lots of beautiful things here. Radamanthus, also here, Radamanthus has been put in charge by the gods to rule over the dead. A little body which is related to justice in many ways. So there's lots and lots which says the same thing in different ways. That's always a kind of, we need those confirmations on multiple levels to make something real. This is the same chart, heliocentric, for Washington DC. Now this will be kind of Okay, what I wanted to point out here is helionome, right? Helionome. Helionome is, in the mythology, she's a centaur, a female centaur, here right at the 10th house cusp, together with Arrokoth. Helionome is Ceres' wife, and she has a lot to do with that theme of healing and of pacifying. Another centaur which is related to sacrifice and giving its life away. Actually, Helionome was the first one to be killed in that battle, and Ceres then is following her and wanting to be with her. It's a beautiful story. Arrokoth is up here too at 18 degrees 59 heliocentrically. Arrokoth, again, just in a nutshell, is challenging us to rewrite history. When Arrokoth was visited by the New Horizons space probe on January 1st, 2019, the information which came in made scientists to literally drop all the ideas they had about the creation of our solar system. They found evidence that everything was different than they had perceived. So it's literally the energy which opens our eyes to a whole big picture. A man standing under the open sky, that's the meaning of Arrokoth. Seeing the whole starscape, seeing the whole big picture. Now this leads me to the discovery of GZ32, which dates back to April 13, 2002. And you see, this is actually the second frame. When you have to understand, when the sky is scanned, and they do that constantly, they take pictures of different areas of the night sky at very high resolution, very small areas at once, because you can imagine if you point the telescope in one direction, you get a very tiny fraction of the sky into one image. So they do multiple images, the computers are programmed to do that, and then they do those various images within a couple hours. Usually they do several shots, and then the computer analyzes these pictures and focuses on little light dots which have moved slightly from picture 1 to picture 2 to picture 3. So it's always the second picture which is really revealing that something is there which we haven't seen before. Something is moving, something which is not a fixed star, a galaxy or whatever far in the background, but a little body moving within the solar system, because they all look alike in a way. They all are just little dots of light, you have to imagine. So it's always the second frame which is really the discovery frame, in my opinion. The moment when we realize, oh, something new is there. And that second frame, that's the time stamp on it, was on Mauna Kea Observatory in Hawaii, up on the high volcano, where they have the very clear skies, where they have this big telescope which is scanning the skies, one of many. There's different places on our planet where they are doing that. So what I want to point out here is that same axis, 17 degrees Capricorn rising and 0 degrees Taurus is the Moon and Mercury, and 29 here in Aries, that is the 4th house cusp, the IC. Now let me just go back here one more time to this chart, and you see it's the same chart, just a little bit in a different configuration. So you have now here the 17th degree of Capricorn in midheaven, whereas here in the discovery frame you have that degree on the let me get it. This is the one. Oh, I pressed the wrong button, so bear with me. Takes a little time for my computer when I do that. Okay, that's okay. We want to go to this chart here. That's the one. Right, here you see 17 degrees rising and 0 degrees Taurus, where the Moon is, and Mercury, and the 4th house cusp. Aquarius here, which is always showing up when things are accelerated. So, okay, I want to go back to the meaning of that body. And this is again what Linda Goodman found. It changes the way we look at the world. GZ32 comes into play. There's an imperceptible change in personal ideology. Even the most inflexible people begin to change their attitude without being conscient about it, like in the movie K-Pax, Dragonfly, or 12 Monkeys. Another one which Deborah came up with is The Sixth Sense by Night Shyamalan, I guess is yes. So there's it's a very, very interesting energy. It changes our perception because of what is unfolding around us. You can't really not be affected by it. It's just seeping in through the pores. It again is very interesting too that we have that Pisces Moon when all that is exact. The Pisces Moon again is about assimilation, and it happens on a more deeper level in a way. And just want to go back here. Let me see once more. So in this discovery chart, we have that Moon Mercury conjunction at 0 degrees Taurus. It's literally that new thoughts and ideas manifest in physical form. That's what it is, because that's the only proof we get for something to be true. It has to take on form. It has to manifest itself. And Venus is in here too. And actually in that conjunction with Sedna, this is beautiful too. It kind of shows that it's the sensual side of all that hidden mystery which Sedna represents, which is captivating. It's we come to feel it, we come to experience it. Mars in Taurus too. This is extremely important, and also that there is still Aries here at the 4th house cusp makes this even more interesting, as we have at the base of this chart of this new energy coming in is a pioneering spirit, breaking new ground. This is hexagram 3, which rules this area of the zodiac. Difficulties at the beginning. It is that first step into a new dimension where we have to first figure things out and get everything in place. So this body, this little GZ32, it's only 112 kilometers or 180 kilometers, I guess, somewhere in that range. It has an orbit of 112 years. That's where the 112 comes in. Moves once in 112 years around the sun. So it's a really a maverick in its own way. And okay, that's the next thing. So because GZ32 is right here in this area, later today it will have an exact conjunction with the Sun at 6:51 p.m. in Washington DC, and this is just a few minutes away from the exact waxing square of the moon. Again, the waxing square being the most dynamic yang moment in a month. So it's really very obvious that something will come out of this in the next few days to kick off this new energy into action. I mean, many people were expecting some big celestial event around that time of the Jupiter and Saturn conjunction. And on that, I just want to beam here back to one more note I wrote yesterday, one more thought. So it is about that Jupiter-Saturn historic conjunction. When as seen from Earth's perspective, Jupiter will glide past Saturn. You have to keep in mind Jupiter has been kind of racing towards Saturn for a long time. Saturn moves ahead, Jupiter slightly behind it. It's really like a race. So once, when as seen from Earth's perspective, Jupiter will glide past Saturn, the Lord of the Rings will be so close to Jupiter. It will be within Jupiter's moon's orbits. This is special. So Saturn will shine through Jupiter's aura, literally recharging it, empowering the royal planet with its frequency, nourishing it. So it's a true merger of these two energies. Now the most important part is this: whenever two celestial bodies converge, similar to a relay race, in that moment of perfect conjunction, there's a transference happening, a transference of power, a transference of who is in the lead. After a long time chasing, it's out the neighbor. Once again, Jupiter will come into the lead. Whereas the closing in on one another is experienced as compression towards Saturn. Saturn was before the leading factor, so that this is a compression towards Saturn, who still has been leading the pack and therefore has been the dominant force. From that moment of the conjunction, of taking over the lead, this compression changes into a release. Jupiter's expansive nature is taking back the dominant role. Jupiter is now again separating from Saturn and being the one which is the final has the final say in that sense, goes first. So this is, I really wanted to emphasize this once more to give you a bit of an idea how important that moment of a conjunction is, as it's really shifting the force from Saturn to Jupiter. Saturn having been the very restrictive energy in many ways, Jupiter is really the polar opposite of being expansive and optimistic, moving into a very dynamic and growing and expanding field of new expressions, particularly in Aquarius. So anyway, I want to keep it at that, and thanks again for joining and listening, and yeah, till soon.